Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. I do hope that you're well. Today is the 30th of November, and I thought what we would do in this video is tie up and have a look at some loose ends or subjects that are in the news at this moment in time. Before we move into the energy of December, and I will come back in a few days' time and do a full reading for the energy of December for us all. In this video, I think I'm called to look at the situation in China, in particular linked into the protests that are happening there. I would say unprecedented protests, but of course I'm old enough to remember Tiananmen Square and what happened there. So this is the biggest protest, though, or protests that has been sweeping various parts of China. And we're going to have a look at that and a look at their chances of succeeding or what's going to happen. Also, I thought I would have a look at this rather strange story that's been in the news, also circulating from China, with regards to the sheep. There's a farm where sheep have been circling round and round, excuse me, round and round in circles since November the 4th. Continuously. Now, over and above any other explanation, I'm being given some symbolic meaning of that, which I would like to share. So we're going to look at China. We also will have a look at the volcanic explosion in Hawaii, and I'm going to pull some cards on that. And again, I feel as though, as well as it being a geophysical event, there is also some symbolism there, and I'd like to pick into the meaning of it all. But before we do any of that, I would like to just say a couple of other things linked into the last video that I did with regard to the Idaho Moscow Murders. And then we're going to segue into also discussing the fashion brand Balenciaga, is it? I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't care either, because I never have bought anything from them, and I never will. But that brand that's in the news, Balenciaga, I don't know. Let's not tell me 100 times how to spell it in the comments. It gets really boring. But again, I want to look at that, and I'll explain, because I think there's an energetic link to Idaho. Why is it every time that I try to record a video, it's been quiet as a mouse all morning, there is noise that comes from my road? It's really quite interesting, isn't it? We are being tested, my friends. We are really being tested and thwarted at these times to get messages of light out. But we just have to persist, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Do I need to go and shut the window? Probably, yes. Let's go and do that. Hold on. Some sort of generator. Begs the question, what are you generating as an energy? Okay, are you generating chaos and noise and dysfunction, or are you trying to generate the energy of love and peace? Right, let's start then with Idaho. Number one, very importantly, thank you very much, the people that actually watched that video and contributed to helping to raise the vibration so that the ugliness that is linked to this case can be exposed. Also, a huge thank you for the respect that you showed me and my channel. I asked that we didn't name names, and nobody did. And I just really thank you for that, because it's a very different energy on this channel with me to maybe other pages. And anyway, I appreciate your, I think there's a like-minded energy. It's brilliant. Right, what I want to say. So the day after I made that video, I tried to do a reading, just a general reading for Facebook and Instagram, just like a daily video, and I couldn't do it because I was pulling cards and I was just getting this case again. I wasn't going to say anything, but I think I will, in terms of the messages that were coming out of this deck, and I might very well pull the cards again, just a quick 5-minute look. But the most important thing was if you've seen my previous video, you'll know that I kept referring to masks. And in particular, we were looking at a card with a woman in white who had masks all over her gown. Now, that was a different deck to this one, but I pulled this card the day after the reading, and it's exactly the same. It's just a different deck. It's a different depiction. A white gown with loads of different masks. And this is the card which says, to be fair, 38. So the energy of 11, duality, balance, justice. So I'm going to pull a couple of other cards to come with it. The other thing that happened was that the day that video launched, I went for a walk, and I was walking in an area where there's a cul-de-sac. Now, we know that where the students were killed is a cul-de-sac. And as I was walking near this cul-de-sac, I'd gone past it, a van approached me with Capricorn on the side. Now, of course, Capricorn, in terms of symbolism, it can be linked into devil energy. Obviously, if you're a Capricorn, doesn't mean you are, but, you know, in terms of the tarot, and the devil card is linked to the energy of Capricorn. So I thought, okay, I didn't really think anything of it. But then he drove towards me and he basically said, and I thought this was interesting, remember it's the day the video goes out, he says, is this the only way out of this road? He didn't realise it was a cul-de-sac. And I said to him, yes, you have to go back the way you came. And I was thinking to myself, is this connected to the case? Was the person that did that, did they arrive in a van, or did they have a lookout van? Did they have to leave basically in a van or a vehicle? And as I had that thought, a fox, which isn't that usual to see during the daytime in this particular area and this particular street, crossed the road. Again, fox is linked to many things, very positive things, but in terms of the energy that I was feeling, it was the energy of deviousness and sneakiness and cunning. So the Capricorn van, the devil energy, the fox, is it a cul-de-sac? Do I have to go back the same way I came in? I just felt that was linked. So I'm just going to put that there. I'm not trying to turn this into a whodunit. When I raise these things, it's more about just raising it as an energy, so it's out there. And then hopefully the powers that, the good powers can get hold of that and do something with it. Right. The other thing as well linked into that video, something I didn't talk about, was when I read the passage from Matthew, which was about the need to cleanse the temples and cleanse the churches. I read out this passage about, is from Matthew chapter 23, verse 27, which is about the hypocrisy of people within the church, the scribes, the Pharisees, who have beautiful whitewashed buildings. Outwardly, everything appears very beautiful, but inside there is all this corruption and disgustingness. Dead men's bones, actually, it says here. But above it, I talked about that, but above it, there's this image of dill, and I didn't expand on dill. One of you did mention in the comments, and I wanted to pick up on it because I hadn't appreciated that dill is a herb that apparently in old folklore, and if you're, a herbalist, or many of us were wise women, wise men of the forest who gathered herbs in previous lives, even if we don't now, dill is one of the things that helps to expel the energy of evil, curses, nightmares, witchcraft, and evil. So I feel as though also my guides were giving us dill as a protective herb for these times that we're in. Not for us all to get completely and utterly paranoid, but what I'm seeing is maybe to pot up some dill, or to have some dried dill in front of your home or at the gateways of your home. More than anything, it's an act of symbolism to grow dill, a bit like holly. Holly is also a very protective plant, to deter, to ward off. So these times that we're in, particularly the next subject I'm about to talk about, this fashion brand and the energy of evil that's being presented in our faces. We're having to up our game. I can't say it I can't say it enough, and I keep saying it on every video. Please take your defense energy seriously, okay? And then don't worry about it, okay? Because if you start worrying, then that's going to create more problems. We're not trying to create fear here. We're trying to give practical, supportive tools that can help you, okay? Whether it's the armor of God, whether it's Michael's blue ray, whether it's the gold ray of Christ, whether it's the energy of herbs such as dill, holly as a plant, etc. These are from God's universal garden, and they're tools to help us at this time. Okay, so I'm going to give you dill. Right, let me just pull one other card on this, and then we're going to move on to our second topic. Anything else to say today, 30th? Oh, there is something to say today, 30th of November. I believe today is the day that they're going to hold a vigil for the 4 students that have been murdered. So let us here light a candle for them. And maybe you could do that tonight where you are as well, and ask for the light of truth to be shone. I saw a couple of comments along the lines of, well, what's so special about this case? You're missing the point if you're feeling that. This case is in the world spotlight because, as I said in my previous video, as well as hoping to solve it, of course, it is going to expose a lot of other darkness, not just in that area, but worldwide. It's like there's a pocket of it there in Moscow, Idaho, but there's also many other pockets all around our world, all based around the same themes, okay? So let's light a candle for the 4. So for Zana, for Ethan, for Madison, and for Kaylee. Okay, we lit the rainbow bridge last time. Let's just do that. Okay, so today is the vigil. Let me just pull one other card. Anything else to say today, Metatron, with regards to this case? Wow, okay. Masks, masks, masks. They probably wore a mask, this person. I mean, I assume that was they were hiding behind a mask, and I think that is the truth, that they are on the surface a good person, but underneath, obviously, nobody knows who they really are. But I'm also wondering whether they actually did wear a mask. And again, like I said in my previous video, there's 2 masks. All that glitters is not gold. That also implies money. Now, I haven't checked this out, but again, it was a comment that came in. I might be wrong, but somebody was saying that the Idaho Moscow police force have received an extraordinary amount of money that has been pumped in to try to solve this case, versus many other murders that take place every day across America, USA and worldwide. But because I said to you in the last video, it feels very Madeleine McCannish to me. It's got similarities with this case. Number one, it's like so many pieces of conflicting evidence, almost as though it's been done deliberately to confuse and put you off the trail so you can't find the true scent. But there's also money. There's money somehow linked into this as well. And we have this card on the bottom, which is blessed, which is the Nautilus shell. Again, I talked about the Nautilus shell last time, the fact that they would get to the root of it, but they're only going to be able to get to the root of it with divine help, okay? It's like the justice can only get so far. This is going to require divine help to solve not just this case, but what it stands for. And when we truly face the things that are being exposed linked into corruption in the highest levels of our society, for example, satanic practices, abuse of children, even if it wasn't these 4, excuse me, then we're all going to have to mend. We're going to have to come together and we're going to have to mend the energy of healing. And we're going to feel all at sea because of what has been exposed. But many of us know what is coming, and we need to be there for the ones that really don't. And until that time, it's the energy of chop wood, carry water. Just keep on going is what Metatron's saying. Right, number 2. the fashion brand, Balenciaga. Balenciaga. I'm quite glad I can't really say it properly. Words as spells. I suspect there's a bit of a spell energy even within the name itself. So let's not try and practice it and hone our perfection of how to say it. What I want to say about this, let me just breathe. Right. This is just something I noticed. Over and above the scandal that is enveloping this particular brand, which if you don't know about it, is linked into using children sexually to promote a fashion brand. So there's been an advertising campaign that they've now withdrawn because of public revulsion that's centred around children holding their products. And the children basically were holding these teddy bears, very young children, probably they look about 4 or 5 to me. And the teddy bears were all dressed up in bondage gear, basically. There's also photographs of a little boy and he's standing there with his bondage teddy, and there's a little hand-drawn picture on the wall of a devil. It's all very coded. It also turns out that within the same shot, there's a photograph of some jurisdiction recently linked into child pornography or something linked into that. That's also in the shot. Turns out that I think the person or one of the persons associated with this has done other exhibitions. I'm sorry, this is really upsetting, so I'm just going to say it really quickly and then we'll... But then again, that's what we shouldn't do. That's what society shouldn't do. We're trying to gloss over because it's so unpleasant. Some of these pictures show castrated children. It's like an illustration of artwork of that. Sick. But this photographer also did another exhibition, which was called something like... it's linked into women and the sweetness of women or something. And I can't even show you the pictures. I mean, you probably don't want to see the pictures, I'm sure you don't, but I actually tried to print off a couple, just not the castrated children stuff, but some of the other stuff. And Metatron won't even allow me to print them out. The printer's broken. Okay, that's how toxic these images are. They shouldn't really be shown. But as I say, this photographer, I think he's got some other piece of work where there's a woman, whether she's drawn or whether it's a photograph, she's wearing this pink girly dress and she's got like this big black mask over her face. It's like her whole face is like black goo. And what caught my eye about this, over and above the fact it's revolting, I believe the satanic energy within these type of campaigns, normalising sexualisation of children, for example. But I also am linking it back to Idaho because this image of, the woman dressed in pink and it's all lovely and girly, but then she's got this horrible black face, it's like a black mask or black goo all over her face. One of the people that advertises this brand is Kim Kardashian. And Kim Kardashian, of course, if you've seen the photographs, she's been photographed with, all black. It's like bondage gear, basically, going out in public, her whole face, everything. You can't see anything. And then she's also doing it to her son, North. He went out recently with just this great big black. This isn't Michael Jackson type, little pretty masks that he used to put on his kids without wishing to bring Michael's energy into this. It's nothing like that. This is full-on BDSM type gear. What hell's this got to do with Idaho? Yesterday, again, this could just be a red herring. There's so much evidence that's coming out all the time about this. But one of the things I saw was that somebody released some photographs of, it was from a doorbell. Somebody had rung a doorbell. And you have a camera sometimes so you can record who's actually at your door. It recorded who had rung the doorbell. This is on another house. And this person's in he's all dressed in black with this black sort of rubber mask all over his face. It all feels as though it's linked. It's all linked into this energy, this web of evil, this web of darkness that is trying to that is very much in our face at this moment in time. Today, as I record this, I know that the fashion house in Bond Street in Bond Street in London, and I also believe some of the sites in America, LA, they've had, I'm not going to say the word, beginning with P, ending in A, because it'll flag the video, child abuse, basically. It's all been plastered across this company's building because people are revolted by it. You know, it's time that we stood up against this. It's for far too long, it's been sort of like, oh, it's just art. It's just, you know, creative expression. But where do we draw the line? And it's as though the sickness that is being portrayed in our media, via film, via artwork, via photography, is seeping, always was, but it's really seeping more into everyday life. So I just know there's a link. I know there's a link with all of this. And what I mean by that is it's the same web that breathes in somebody's mind that they want to basically create an exhibition and show photographs of children that have been castrated and playing together covered in blood, is the same dark web that produces a killer that is able to go into a house and butcher 4 innocent students. It's the same thing. And the underbelly is fed by corruption within our church, within our institutions, people turning a blind eye, etc. Okay? So I'm sorry to be so heavy, but I really felt I needed to continue and say this. The other thing I forgot to mention last video, which I think is important, is, you know, I talk about Archangel Michael, I talk about Jesus as energies that can step in and help ward off this darkness, okay? I also mentioned the violet dragon. This is an energy that I particularly am working with at the moment, and we will be releasing actually as a spray in the new year. It's not quite there yet, but I personally have been working with the violet dragon energy, and it's a defense and it's a shield, and it's about cutting through and going before us to safeguard us. But as well as that, I forgot to mention Kali Ma. And I don't know why I forgot to mention her, because it's so appropriate, particularly linked into when we have crimes against the divine feminine, okay? Crimes linked into the divine feminine energy. Kali Ma, also the energy of Lilith, of course, who I channeled recently, but the Kali energy. Kali, you know, if you read on in terms of the traditions and the what has been written about her over the years, you know, she's the one that was on the battlefield, you know, literally cutting through the demons. So again, Kali Ma as a very powerful goddess energy that is a protector. Okay, so remember her also in your practices. Let me just spray the Kali. She's also got something to say about the volcano, of course, but let's just see for now. Kali. Okay, no, it's a bit of a grim image. I'm being shown the battlefield, and I'm being shown this darkness that is creeping up. But remember this, my friends, as light workers, however unpleasant this is now, to witness, to talk about, to pray on, to defend against, the fact that we can see it is because the scum has risen to the surface. What was hidden more underneath is becoming more visible, i.e. there is nowhere to hide. They can't hide it anymore. When you can't hide something, you know what you're dealing with. It's when things are completely buried and unseen, that's a bigger problem. So what I'm being shown by her is the battlefield, which is the collective energy, and it's like this black ooziness is the only way I can put it, black ooziness on the battlefield, and it's bubbling up. But she's there, and she's showing me herself in a pair of boots, and she's stamping over what is bubbling up. She's showing me the energy of fire, and it's literally like putting out the fire, but putting it out permanently. And the fire energy represents this anger, this insatiable lust, this greed, this egoic need for destruction and death and power and all of that is bad and yucky, and that we can't have that in New Earth. We don't want that in New Earth. We don't want it here, but it has to come up to be healed. So Kali is trying to help us to, she's saying, have the stomach for it, to be able to stomach what we're seeing, but equally to then be able to deal with it. Feel as though I'd like to pull a card from the Kali Ma deck, which I do have. I'm just wondering where it is. Yeah, it's here. It's an Alana Fairchild deck. And I have to say, as a creator of decks myself, I would never do a Kali Oracle, because I don't think you can beat this. And if you can't beat something, there's no point to be a pale imitation. She's done a really good job. And I have to say that my references in many of my videos are to my Christian upbringing, because that was my upbringing. And I can spar with the best of them. You know, so if a fundamental Christian comes at me, I can answer you back, okay? I know what I know. I went to church for years. I know the Bible very well, the New Testament certainly. So why I'm mentioning this, though, is that I have such respect for other faiths. And in particular, we're looking at launching an Ascended Master set of sprays in the new year. And one of the ones that will be in it will be Sanat Kumara. And over the last week, I've been trying to get my head around Sanat Kumara and what he really stands for. And he's linked into so many different religions, and particularly Hinduism. And the more I've looked into it, the more I realise I don't understand. You know, and it's okay to say that. And then you honour another person's faith and religion. So I'm just mentioning that because I think that this deck, this Kali deck, I think Alana's done a really good job. Right, shall we just pull a card for today, linked into Kali, and see what she has to say to us? This might be linked into the upsurge of violence in our world. I mean, look at the picture on the front of the deck. There she is, with her arms, with her sword. You know, these are supposed to be the skulls of the demons that she's taken on the battlefield. She wears them with pride, with honour, that I've taken you down, you know, in terms of evil. Means business, okay? She's a great ally for you to have on your side at this time. Definitely call in the energy of Kali Ma, because also that's the matriarch as well. It's the matriarch energy. She has many different faces. And that's why I like this deck, because it shows all the different faces. Okay, what face are you showing today? What is the message, Kali, that you'd like to bring through in this video for the people that are watching? These times that we're in, that people are finding so difficult and hard to stomach. What is the message? Okay, that's the card. I'm going to have to go to the book to tell you what the meaning is. It's card number 21. And it says this. Sublime. Apologies for my pronunciation. I can't pronounce these words, okay? So let's just concentrate on the message. Sublime Bari Avi, fierce with sacred rage, cannot be deceived nor deterred. She is unflinching, fearless and determined. She causes that which is unworthy of the soul to flee and secures divine protection for the authentic soul path. Her presence empowers our hearts to face our fears and signifies that we are ready to overcome anything that has held us back. She gives the power to fulfill our heart's desire and reminds us to embrace our unique path with confidence. So, she's considered to be the latent, this version of her is considered to be the latent energies that exist within the base chakra. This is the foundation upon which the body, earthly life, and soul purpose arise in the world. It is from this spiritually stable place that we can move from strength to strength, secure in her love and protection. So base chakra, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Particularly because we're going to talk about volcanoes and the fire energy, which is base chakra. And my 1111 meditation was all linked into Kundalini energy, which starts in the base chakra. We have a Kundalini explosion now happening in Hawaii with the volcano. But equally, if you think about all of this destruction that we're seeing around the world, the darkness, it's imbalance and distortion of the base chakra. It's unhealed base chakra wounds. You wouldn't go to war if there was a healthy base chakra within the collective. You wouldn't try and take power from another if there was a healthy base chakra within the collective. You wouldn't seek bloodshed. You just wouldn't do the things that are happening in our world. It's all linked into damage at the root of humanity. Okay. But this energy with Kali is coming forward today to say that I am fearless against anything that is arising during this time. And there is nothing that phases her. Nothing that phases her. So for everybody, for men, for women, call in the Kali Ma energy. Okay. Let's look at the volcano next because it feels as though it ties in. Then we'll do China last. Volcano. So apparently it's the world's largest volcano that has erupted within the last week or so. And it's erupted for the first time in 40 years. So interestingly, I think it might tie into a prediction that I put in, I don't know when it was, only about less than a month ago. Do you remember I was talking about, it was weird, I was seeing the moon, but the moon was blacked out. And I talked about the fact that it might be volcanic ash that could potentially do it. So I'm wondering whether that is linked to this, because there's going to be a big outpouring of volcanic ash. And I don't know whether it's going to affect flights. I would imagine it is going to, but could very well be linked into that. So let's just pull a few cards on this volcano and see what I'm wanting to say she wants to say to us. I've got the volcano card here from Earth Magic by, who is it? Stephen Farmer. Okay, so we've got the volcano that's going off. Let's see what else, what other messages are there linked into this volcanic eruption. So this particular volcanic eruption, what are the energies at play? The energy of breath and the energy of earth magic, fairies. I'm going to pull a clarify card on those. We've also got dragonfly emergence. Actually, I don't need to pull another card. What these three are saying to me is this feels very much linked into the energy of new earth that wishes to arrive. Eden. Okay, I keep talking about the return to Eden. Okay, now the return to Eden to me is going to, and to many of us, feels as though it is heralded and guided by the divine feminine energy that wishes to rise. The garden is green. Okay, it's not scorched earth. It's not neutralized earth, via nuclear attack or anything like that. It's not barren earth that can no longer be fertile and produce the crops that is needed. It's not tainted earth or toxic earth. It is abundant earth. It is forestation and trees and foliage and flowers and plants and herbs and you and me and all living creatures being able to breathe, being able to be free, the energy of green. And we have the fairy energy as well that feels as though it wishes to rise up. I just want to tune into that fairy energy. Let's just see what I can get. This is a unicorn spray that we're going to be bringing out in the new year as well. Let's just see. I know unicorn fairies, but it's just elemental magic really is what I'm feeling here with that card. the sweetness of the seventh dimension, the sweetness of being able to rise above, the sweetness of being able to see the intricacy of all things, the meaning of all things, why things have happened, why things need to change, where we are heading. I'm seeing all these fairies and elemental energies, and it's as though they're bedding down in New Earth already. You know, at the end of the day, I know this is a bit of a head thing to get around, but I believe New Earth already exists. It's already there. If you think about timelines and parallel universes, it's already there. We can already visit it in dream time, in astral. But what we need to do, ideally, is for it to land, okay? We need it to land and cement it in so that everyone can experience it. That it isn't just a destination place that you visit from time to time and then have to come back here where it's all bloody and grisly and you've got all this rubbish going on with, you know, celebrity culture. I'm talking about the fashion brand and people propping that up because it's about money and all that. Where's that card? All that glitters isn't gold. Because I kept wanting to say Hollywood as well, you know, when I'm talking about the dark web and exposing the dark web. Where's that card? All that to me looks like the Oscar mask as well, the Oscars. And indeed, some very prominent Oscar nominated or Oscar received actors and actresses propping up this toxic brand, fashion brand. Anyway, how did I get onto that? Let me just pull myself back. Yeah, because that's the antithesis of what we... of New Earth, okay? You don't have any of that in New Earth. There's none of this preening and stocking up of gold at the expense of everybody else. This is the energy of equality. I've called it the Garden of Even in other videos. The Garden of Even, that we're equal. Male and female are equal. The animals and humans are equal. Plants are equal. You know, it's the whole thing. And we can breathe. It's just going to be beautiful. What's this got to do with what you're talking about? Because it's linked into the volcano, Hawaii, Lemuria, ancient land, new lands arriving from the volcanic explosion. Not instantly, not tomorrow, but it's part of the process of awakening. Okay, let's see if I can get anything else. Let's pull a card from here. This is the Sacred Rebels Oracle, again by Alana Fairchild, so I like this deck as well. Let's see. So with regards to the volcano in Hawaii, what does that actually mean? The name of that volcano. Let me just have a look. Mauna Loa. Meaning in Hawaii. Means long mountain in Hawaii. How did it get its name? Apologies again if I'm mispronouncing. Mauna Loa is what's known as a shield volcano, formed by repeated fluid lava flows that tend to give the volcano a gently sloping, rounded profile like that of a shield. Wow. Shield. Shield of faith. Sorry, flicking things at you. Shield of faith. Armour of God. Shield of faith. We are shielded. We are shielded from this evil, but we have to remember to ask for the protection and the help. And we're shielded as we enter New Earth. And look at that card on the bottom of the deck, as we bring it into form. And how do we bring it into form? Let's go back to the armour of God. Feet that walk in peace. Feet that walk in peace. We bring it into being by walking it into form. By every action that you do, every footstep that you make, to be one of peace rather than anything negative. To bring it into form. Let's have one more card. How interesting. So it's known as It's known as a shield volcano. Who is the goddess? Pele is known as the goddess of this volcano. She who shapes the sacred land. Okay, Pele. Said to be sacred, largest of them all. Okay. Yeah, because it says here, Mauna Loa is the largest active volcano on the planet. It's the I can't say anything today. It's the quintessential shield volcano in its shape. Volcano makes up roughly 51% of Hawaii Island. 51%? Oh my God, I mean, if this is going off, I mean, it's huge, isn't it? Come on, those of you that are in Hawaii, please let us know what's going on. I'm just going to find some pictures of it. Hawaii residents told to prepare for evacuation. Yeah. Okay. Video shows hot lava spewing 40 metres into the air. It's erupting for the first time since 1984. It's erupted for the first time in 38 years. 38. 3 and 8 make 11. We had the card 38, didn't we? Earlier. Was that the card of the masks? I think it might have been. No, it was the card of justice, wasn't it? It was the card of justice that I showed you. Which now I can't bloody find. Hold on. Found it. It erupted 38 years ago. Card number 38. This was the first card I showed you. Justice. Justice. And justice rising up with the white ray of purity and innocence against all this masked energy. All ties together. Okay. Let's just pull a couple of tarot cards linked into the volcano, and then we're going to go on to look at China. Okay, volcanic eruption. Hold on. So a load of them fell out there. Volcanic eruption. Anything else to say about this today? Volcanic eruption on Hawaii. The energy of hope. Which card is that? Hope, 5 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. Contentment and hope. And responsibility, 2 tens. I'm wanting to say 2025. And I don't know why I'm saying that. I've never done that before. I'm adding up the cards and I'm getting 2025, 2 tens and a 5. 25 that would be, but I'm hearing 2025. My nose is going, guys. My nose is going. Means I'm on to something here. Okay, the Emperor. By 2025, a few years away, we have the doorway to the Emperor. The Emperor, of course, is the energy of order, law, security, stability. I think what this is trying to say is that we're in for a period of upheaval, which we know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We're already in it. Been in it for quite a while. It feels as though by 2025 things start to settle. Whatever that means, we'll come back to that. Right, guys, I'm going to move on to the last subject in this video. We're going to talk about China. And more than anything, I would really like us to hold the energy of hope and light for China. You may or may not know that there have been unprecedented protests, as I said at the start, linked into an uprising against the Chinese regime. They've had a zero COVID policy in place since the start of the pandemic, which is probably totally unachievable. Well, it is unachievable if you want a free society. You're not going to get zero COVID. But that's what they've been trying to do. Very draconian lockdowns, inhumane lockdowns, people being locked into buildings and workplaces if there's an outbreak. Imagine that. Imagine that you're at work in your office. Somebody starts to feel unwell in the desk next to you. They come down with COVID. It happens, doesn't it? You know, my daughter's working at a nurse home at the moment where there's an outbreak of it. But imagine that they then just locked the doors without your permission and you weren't allowed out of that building for weeks, maybe months. It's been happening. It's just horrendous what's been happening over there, as well as, of course, the human rights abuses, which is just a whole other ballgame. Now, I read a really interesting article the other day that was saying there's almost like been an unspoken agreement between the Chinese people and its government. Not to say that they necessarily want the regime that they've got, but up to this point, there's been greater prosperity coming into the country. Of course, there's still pockets of great poverty within China, not disputing that. But, you know, China's economy has been booming. They've been doing quite well. And the unspoken agreement is almost the energy of we'll put up with these restrictions, control, as long as we've got food on our table, as long as we're okay. As soon as you're not okay, and as soon as the economy starts to slump, which is what's starting to happen now, and you know people start to suffer, then why you're not getting anything from the deal. And there's that energy, isn't there, about human beings, which is that you can only press human beings so far before they crack, before they stand up, before they rise. I really believe that's true. And I'm just wondering, I'm going to pull some cards, is this the moment? Now, of course, as I'm recording this today, the Chinese government are coming down very heavily upon the protesters. I can't imagine the level of bravery that it takes to stand up and protest, knowing that you might be carted off to prison and never see your family again, or worse. I remember reading at the start of the pandemic on that beautiful doctor, Dr. Liu, was it? Who came forward in spirit as well, you know, who was killed right at the start of it all. Many whistleblowers who just disappear. So really, I feel that we need to be lighting a candle for the Chinese people, for freedom to reign there. And I truly believe that at some point, whether it's now or whether it's in the future, the Chinese will break free, because ultimately New Earth energy, it doesn't just come to America, it doesn't just come to England, it doesn't just come to Canada, it comes to the whole world. So when you have a pocket of resistance and control in the way that you do large swathes of the world at the moment, and I'd include Russia in that as well now, but we're talking about China, then something has to give at some point. It's just a question of when. Now, that card came out when I said when, and it's the card of stability. Right, so we're going to use that as our base. It's a question of when it breaks. So obviously the Chinese government want to keep things as they are. They want it to be stable. They want their currency to be stable. They want their currency and their economy to actually be the engine upon which the whole world runs. Now, it may very well be anyway. This is just what I'm picking up from the Four of Pentacles as I'm looking at it. I'm also feeling an energy here of, if we fail, we'll take you down with us. I'm talking here economically. I don't think enough people understand the mechanics of interrelated economic dependence. The fact that most countries around the world are reliant on Chinese production, Chinese goods, Chinese labour, Chinese... Metron wants me to keep going back to Chinese labour. So some of the things that we have in our homes, you know, the televisions, the phones, they come about, we have them, but actually they're bedded in an energy of lack and control and oppression and the haves and have-not type energy. I believe I'm right in saying that one of the reasons why this protest broke out was a result of a particular factory being locked down because of COVID, you know, in draconian ways. Literally, you can't go home tonight. That's it. You're staying here until we tell you can leave, and it might be weeks. And I think it was an iPhone factory. So I've got an iPhone. How many of you have got iPhones? Most people, well, if it's not an iPhone, you know, it can be another phone, but a lot of the bits within the phones or the phone itself, you know, it's coming, it's not made in your country. So it's this energy of we'll take you down with us is what I'm feeling. The world's economy, and this is just the energy I'm picking up. I'm picking up an energy which is coming from the Chinese leaders, which is that you need our stability. It's almost like made a pact with the devil. That's the energy of it. You've made a pact with the devil, whether you know it or not. And it's very easy to look at politicians and say, well, they made the pact with the devil. And I'm talking here about American politicians. You know, so-and-so's made this deal and linked into the Chinese. I'm talking here Hunter Biden in particular, that type of energy. I think I'm right in saying that's what I'm picking up. But the point is, that may very well be true, and that may very well need to be called out. Say he's made a pact with the devil and done that, you know. So this is really unpalatable truth, guys. But so too have we if we've got this technology in our home. Because it's not founded on New Earth in terms of the people that actually helped to make these and ship these. We're all culpable. Right, okay, it's all getting a bit heavy, but let's just try and lighten it up. It's what I'm called to talk to you about today, and I do appreciate those of you that follow me. And you're with me through the good times and the bad times and the tough times and the funny times. And right now in our world, it's a bit tough, I know that. And we're having to read on some tough subjects. So I just can't do light and fluffy when I'm not feeling it. So thank you for honouring my work and being part of my tribe. Right, what else is to say about China? There was also the sheep, wasn't there? Yeah, this is what I wanted to say about the sheep. So there's an image, there's footage of sheep going round and round in circles since the 4th of November, I think it was. And no one knows what they're doing, why they're behaving like that. What the hell are they doing? Now, you can read up on it yourself, okay? So I'm just going to give you my perspective. This is what came to me. The obvious one, of course, I've never called anybody a sheep in my life, and I never will. But there is that term out there, which is that people can be like sheep. You know, it's like, you know, if you tell me to jump off the edge of the cliff, I'll do so because you've told me to. It's that type of energy. It's like people can flock together. They can behave in ways that aren't necessarily ultimately good for them, but because everybody else is doing it, I'll do it. So there's that. It's like we are becoming sheep-like in our energy in terms of going round and round in the same circles, repeating the same mistakes over and over, decade after decade, you know, never changing the script. Here's another war, here's another dose of this. I'm not talking about anything medical there. I was just meaning, you know, another episode of life on planet Earth. It never changes. Oh, you know, round and round in circles. I'm being shown the goldfish bowl. You know, it's like that's what humanity is. And we come back and we reincarnate and we're going to do it differently. And then we don't. And it's the energy. What I'm feeling is we blame them. It's because of them. That's why we can't. But look where these sheep are going round and round in circles in China, just as it's happening, just as the people are trying to break free. You know, these brave protesters, that are trying to break free, that are trying to bring a greater democracy to the country. I was just trying to see if there was any pictures of it in the paper. It was front page news earlier. Here we go. China fights to escape Xi's lockdown tyranny. Protesters turn streets into war zones with hazmat-clad COVID enforcers cowering under riot shields as bottles rain down on them and police strong-armed demonstrators. I mean, there's some really powerful images coming out of China and bloody frightening as well. I mean, look at that. Those are the people that are trying to enforce the control. Can you see that? Hazmat-clad police force. It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. It really does. I'm going to do a video soon with Prince about breaking out of the Matrix. But this is what these people are trying to do. They're trying to break out of the Matrix. And of course, the Chinese government don't want them to. So let's read on it. Let's see what the chances of success are. Let's just go to traditional tarot. After tarot. I'm going to start with show me the current energy in China. As I said that, my stomach started to rumble. So there are people that are starting to go hungry, and the card of judgment has come out. And it's being illuminated by the sun. So for me, when the sun, I know the sun is a positive card usually, but this is like when the sun was shining and when times, well, the sun was shining, when times were better, we sort of put up with it, but now there's got to be a change. There's judgment here, judgment. But this is also the light illuminating the judgment. So we have judgment and we have people going hungry. I mean, you saw that in... Was it the first or second lockdowns? Well, they've had continual lockdowns there, but you know, the energy of people being locked in their apartments with no food, not even being able to go out to get food. And that really brings an energy of community consciousness that has to come together. People passing food to each other via windows and stuff. But you know, this is the 21st century, for God's sake. You know, it's just like, how can this still be happening in... And we're talking about New Earth. This has to come up. This has to come up. So this is pivotal right now, what's happening in China. Whether they succeed or not is a different question. Let's just ask how it's looking for the protesters. Show me the energy of the protesters and their chances. Show me the energy of the protesters. I mean, this is literally a case of... David and Goliath. Okay, there's two cards there that have come out. We've got the card of Temperance, which is patience, which shows that it's not going to be a short one war between them and the government. And we've got the Page of Cups, which is young people uniting. Young people uniting. It's always when I say it's always the youth, what I'm trying to say is there's always going to be, if you think back to the Tiananmen Square, there was a lot of youth there. You know, that come out. It's China's youth. It's like I'm feeling there's an energy of older Chinese who they haven't known any different. They've put up with it. They are feeling as though it's pointless. It can't be won. Resignation is the word I'm feeling with older Chinese. It's just they're resigned to their fate, that this is the way things are. But the younger generation have had a taste of, you know, what is out there in the wider world. Why should they put up with it? Why should we be treated as we are? We're not going to put up with it. But we've got the card of Temperance, which is, let me see. Why have we got Temperance? Well, it's also the energy of healing, but nothing's been achieved yet other than demonstrations. So I don't think the angels are saying, just calm down, don't do it. What is this energy of Temperance about? Why have we got the energy of Temperance with regard to the Chinese? The Four of Pentacles, again, that's 2 Four of Pentacles. The top gun there in China do not want to lose control of their money. And on the Oh, wow. On the... okay. And then the cards on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Seven of Wands, fighting on the streets, you know, youngsters, or whatever age group, picking up anything they can get their hands on. This is like desperate. This is desperate times. I've got the energy, I've got nothing else to lose. My back is against the wall. You've pushed me too far. I'm at breaking point. I have to fight. I have no choice. Sorry about my stomach. We've then got the energy of the Tower. And the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands. Divine feminine energy. There. Waiting to take power. I mean, God, I know this seems so unlikely, guys. You know, if you look rationally, it's more like there's going to be war there, you know, in terms of the situation with maybe Taiwan or something like that. But I'm just reading today on the energy of these protests. We've got youth fighting, the Tower. The Tower is about something having to crumble. And we've got the Queen of Wands there with the sunflower. The sunflower might also link into the energy with Ukraine. May not. Let's just see. What are their chances of success? That's a very open-ended question. I'm going to say, can they achieve anything? Can these protesters achieve anything worthwhile at this time? Can these protesters achieve anything worthwhile at this time? The Knight of Wands. They're going to try. They are going to try. Can these protesters achieve anything in China at this time? They don't have a choice. Sorry, my stomach, but I'm going to just allow you to hear my stomach because I think it's related to what this I'm reading on. They're empty. They're empty. They have nothing. They have to fight back. Wheel of Fortune, justice, the world, death. All major arcana. What can we do as interesting, I was going to say as spite workers. I never have said that in my life. Okay, light workers. We need to get our heads together here because many people are spiting at this time. What does that mean? I think it's an energy of there's no point sending light to China because it's never going to change. They're going to be defeated. They're going to be imprisoned. It's going to be Tiananmen Square all over again. It's, you know, but I'm just feeling there's a very powerful energy here that if they harness with help, if they harness with help, the world is the end of a cycle. We've also got the energy of death and the end of a cycle. We've got justice, we've got fate, and we've got choice. This is the Chinese people, a choice. Choice point times. What are you going to choose? Final card. Ooh, China. Six of Cups. And the Hanged Man. This is a review of the past. Were we actually looked after? Were we actually cared for? Did they actually have our best interests at heart? This is the whole awakening process across the whole planet. It's like, hold on a minute, this isn't working for me. It's working for you. It's not working for me. What am I getting out of this? I'm also feeling with the unity, the energy of unity. They're going to come together. The people are coming together. There's also something here about the ancestors of the land in China, ancestors of the past coming back to help. Is what I'm getting. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it there for now because I'm starving. You see, but I'm laughing, but I've got a fridge full of food. Okay, I'm gonna be hungry for 5 minutes, then I can eat. There are people in China who are starving. And when you're starving, you stand up for yourself and your family. These people have got nothing to lose. I'm just going to pull one card in terms of maybe a protection symbol or something, or a symbol that might be helpful at this time. For us to just hold the light is what I want to say. For any of the situations I've discussed today, really. For, you know, exposing the dark web, dealing with the dark web, defending ourselves against the dark web, the fall of toxic brands built on exploitation and abuse, the fall of celebrity culture that props them up, that glamorizes it, that turns a blind eye to the darkness that's actually seeded there, the killings in Idaho, China, right. Sorry, my battery died. I want to just finish by pulling a card from the Auspicious Symbols deck by Alison and Nicola. And I'm going to ask Metatron for any particular symbol that might be particularly helpful for those of us that are watching this, for all of the subjects that I've discussed in this video, really, or anything else, just the times that we're in. So maybe a symbol to help against the darkness, whatever. We have Ganesh. Yeah, very appropriate. Ganesh. Ganesh is all to do with removing obstacles and clearing the path. It says smooth sailing ahead. All obstacles are being dissolved and released. So we're also being asked to call on the energy of Ganesh as well as Kali during these times. These Eastern energies that are helping to clear our earth. Amen. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. Lots of love. I'll see you in a few days or so with the December reading. Thanks for your support. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share my work. It really helps get the messages out there. Take care of yourselves. Lots of love. Bye for now. Bye.